Hello, hi. My name is Alan Saied, and I'm a security and machine learning architect at Visma's Product Security. And I'm also a security researcher there. In this very short presentation, I'm going to go through security in the context of machine learning and our experience in product security when it comes to that technology. So, the agenda. This is what we're going to go through in this short presentation. Purpose. What is the purpose of this presentation? What is it that we're trying to deliver? And then, since we're talking about security in the context of machine learning, I thought it would be interesting to give a very short definition of what machine learning is. Then we're going to go through machine learning and the product security, how we actually use machine learning in product security in relation to some use cases that we have there. Towards the end, I'm going to provide you with some contact information for any questions or any concerns or any sort of advisory that you want in relation to this topic. We're more than happy to assist you. So, purpose. What is the purpose of this presentation, really? Really, what we're trying to do is to share our experience in product security when it comes to machine learning and security and share that with everyone. And if you have any questions or any concerns in relation to that topic, we're more than happy to help out. That is the main purpose of this presentation. Now, before we go through the use cases and the use of machine learning in product security, I thought it would be interesting to give a very short definition of what machine learning is. I have completely copied and pasted for this definition from Wikipedia from the internet. I'm going to read through it and explain what I mean by machine learning as I read through this. So machine learning is a study of computer algorithms that improve automatically through experience. It is seen as a subset of artificial intelligence. Machine learning algorithms build a mathematical model based on sample data known as training data in order to make predictions or decisions without being explicitly programmed to do so. So, what we're trying to say here really, we have training data, and training data, in my opinion, is the backbone of machine learning. Without training data, you don't really have any models. So we have these training data, and that data consists of various types of information, events, scenarios, depending on what problem we're trying to solve, really. We use this training data in order to mathematically build some models. And we use these models for different purposes. For example, we use it for the purpose of predictions, we use it for the purpose of classifications, or for decision making. And that is really the main purpose of machine learning. Now, in the context of product security, we use machine learning in different situations or scenarios. In one of the scenarios that we use machine learning and statistical analysis is the internal data analysis, really. The idea here is to use this technology to learn more about how teams are actually hardening their data. So we have a lot of data from different teams in Visma, and these data can consist of information such as what kind of, for example, how they harden their databases, what kind of encryptions they use, what kind of things. These are called self-security assessment information. And using this data in combination with machine learning and statistical analysis, we can actually get an interesting idea of how teams generally secure their environment, harden their infrastructure. And by learning these information, we can actually learn more about which is the weakest part of these teams and where we can focus on. And we're going to talk about and provide some samples of these graphs as we go along. The other project that we have used on machine learning is the Anomaly Detection project. This project is in cooperation with IPP team and product security. The idea is to identify suspicious behavior from and to different endpoints within the network. We're going to go through this project and we provide you with some information of what kind of data that we get in terms of this project. The other project that we have used machine learning, which we're going to open source it in future, is called Columbo. Columbo is a digital forensics tool. It actually uses machine learning to identify malwares or hidden evidence and various other things. So ideally, this project is designed to help and assist forensics or digital forensic examiners in their work. The other thing that we try to use machine learning with is the automation of internal processes. At the moment, this is in the experimental phase, but once we're done with this, we are more than happy to share the result of these experiments. We at Product Security try to focus on innovation quite a lot. And one of the key factors of innovation is machine learning that we use. We try to use machine learning in various type of tasks and experiments, and this is quite important, but it is in the early stage for the time being. Now, internal data analysis. This is a sample example of some of the results that we got of the data that we have from the old self-security assessment. As you can see, if we take like server client validation, we can see the majority of team they actually use server validation, and the rest using client and server validation. As we go down, we get different information. Now, remember, these graphs are for all data and for a couple of years back. And since then, a lot of improvements have been done within the infrastructure and within the teams that we have. Now, with these graphs, the product security guys can actually get a bit of sort of idea where they are standing and where they need to focus and where are the weakest links and where we need to spend more time on. And this is one of the examples of that. The other examples are the database permission. Within the database permission, we can see that the majority of teams are actually using countermeasures to protect their databases. And as we go along, that we don't actually, I mean, we see different type of information. But again, the idea and the purpose of using machine learning in such scale is to learn more about how these teams are actually dealing with their securities, and with this, how we can help them to improve that security. So this is a really handy tool to get more and more information about this. And when we have new data within new setups, we are going to compare these results and further learn more about the improvements. So this is one of the cases where we use machine learning. So the other case is called the Visma Anomaly Detection. This is a project that is in production at the moment. The requirement of this project was as following. We wanted to identify suspicious behavior or activity towards and from many endpoints. So what about that really means? We're trying to identify abnormalities without making big changes in the infrastructure and without putting any complex solutions in place. And this is where we use machine learning. The infrastructure is basically like this. We have a huge amount of traffic generated coming and going, and we have some gateways in the middle. These gateways has the all the proper check-ins in place to check all the traffic's coming and going. But in the middle, this is where we have Visma anomaly detections, which tries to identify suspicious behaviors from these gateways towards these endpoints and vice versa. So the look and feel of the dashboard of the anomaly detection is like this. You would have different graphs containing all the similarities of traffic all the way down to less similarities, and this is where we identify what the anomalies. And we have some statistical information like anomaly rates, average, standard deviations, and variance, and different other information like that, which we actually use these information to further improve the product. And further, we have daily report of all the anomalies that are identified by Visma anomaly detection. So in this case, for example, the system identified 5 anomalies. So these anomalies will be reviewed by us, and we actually go through those anomalies. And if they are relevant, then we flag them as relevant, and further investigation will be done. But if they are not, the next time when the model is trained, and the model is actually trained automatically, these information will be discarded. So we tell the model, do not get these information again because these are false positives. And through this, the model is learning and learning and learning until it gets to the point that pretty much learned all the behaviors that is going through the traffic. And then the other project that we have is called Columbo. As I said, Columbo is a digital forensics tool. It's a standalone. We're going to open source it in future. And this is the look and feel of Columbo. So Columbo consists of 3 main parts. This one is called the live analysis of files and process traceability. In this option, Columbo tries to identify malware activity within the running machine and tries to identify them and provide some sort of suggestions of these processes to be malicious or genuine. The other thing that Columbo does is to scan and analyze hard disk images, mounted hard disk images. So if you have any infected hard disk images, Columbo is designed to go through all of these information and identify where the malwares are, where the hidden evidence are. The other thing is memory forensics. Again, Columbo tries to identify, using machine learning and pattern recognition, all the parts that have been infected by malwares or other, malicious activities. The features of Columbus are as following. First of all, it only supports Windows environment for the time being, but we are planning to have this for Linux and Mac. So as I said earlier, it analyzes Windows machines while malware is actively running. It investigates images of hard disk in the form of VHDX. And it goes completely into the memory image and of Windows machine and tries to identify all of the information. So these information will be extracted and automatically will be pre-processed and it will be fed into Columbo. And Columbo will try to identify and suggest all the infected directories, all the executable commands that have been involved in the compromise in a form of suspicious or genuine. And it tries to cluster and group them according to their mother processes. It traces all the processes back all the way to root process in combination with the time of execution, and it identifies the process's responsibility in terms of whether this process is going to be a mother process of any other processes or not. And this is only if the process is designed for such purpose. So yeah, these are the main features of Columbo. As I said, we're going to open source this product and we're going to have a video explaining how you can actually use Columbo if you would like to use it. This is a demo of Columbo. As you can see, some of the outputs here, we've got some machine learning outputs, zeros. So it did some investigation and actually classified these paths to be genuine, giving the percentage value of each of them. But if we further investigate, let's say this is one of the processes that we have identified within the memory image that we're investigating, process number 17612. Then if we press this, we get all of these information. Let's go back up. So the first thing that Columbo identifies is the possible process path of execution. So in this particular example, it says this process number is associated with this command, with PowerShell. And as we can see, this is a payload. If we further scroll down, what we can see that it gives some information about this payload, and it says machine learning model classifies this executions to be suspicious, as you can see at the bottom. But what we need to do for anything that we identify is to consider the percentage scores of any findings. And it's confident that this is a malware or a attempt to hack this particular computer is giving a percentage of 83%. Now further, Columbo provide a proper path or process traceability for that matter when it comes to this process. What it says, this process, which was the PowerShell process, was executed at this time. It was executed by this process with this process ID at that time, all the way down to the root process. So if we take it from the right to the left, what we can see that this root process, which has this process number, executed this process and then executed that process and this process and that and all the way to the PowerShell. But furthermore, this process itself, 17612, is executing another process. In another word, it is a mother process of another process with this value, and that is 17144. So if we copy this to further investigate this. And then what we get other information in relation to this process, all the DLL association with that, with their sizes, as we can see, and we can actually investigate this further, but it doesn't find any handles when it comes to this process. So if we wish to further investigate other processes that we have identified in any particular images, what we can do, we say yes, and we take, for example, the other process that we considered, and we get more information where it says that, okay, there are some suspicious activity in relation to that, and it is giving 100% score. And this process, as you could see, was executed by the other process 17612 and all the way back. And here, this is the final process, and it doesn't execute any other processes. Further, this process has this DLL associations with it. So this was a very short demo of a very small part of Columbo. Hope you liked it. If you have any questions in relation to security and machine learning in general, or any of those products that you have talked about, or anything that, or, for example, if you need security in the context of machine learning for your product, we are more than happy to help you. You can either contact me or Espen. But if you want to learn only about machine learning in the context of non-security matters, then you can contact Michael or Paul Frederick. And with that, I thank you ever so much for your time. Have a good time. Bye bye.